Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dolynny TV and welcome back. I hope you had a fun, wonderful Boxing Day afternoon watching the World Juniors, Team Canada versus Team USA. When I tuned into one of the live streams on YouTube, it was a 2-0 game for the Team USA, the guys south of the border. But then all of a sudden, I guess according to all of Twitter, Alexis Lafreniere woke up and did his thing. And if that ain't just a sign of things to come for this World Junior team, I don't know what is, that's for sure. But guys, unfortunately, I don't have access to watch the World Juniors. Couldn't find anyone to go to the bar with, and didn't exactly feel like venturing all the way to Airdrie just to go watch the game. So, here's what it was. Sat home, did nothing, had a good old afternoon nap, and now I'm back on the old, you know what, as we've got something to discuss here. I did it when Adam Larsson and Joakim Nygard was out. Now that's a while ago when you'll see on this list, but the Oilers are once again in that interesting little conundrum when it comes to shaping the defense when Matt Benning gets back, right? Let's just for a second here talk about the Oilers defenders because you want to really understand what I'm trying to get at. You're going to see here in a second as soon as I find the teams. I didn't think I'd want this stat, but I do. So, for this Oilers team, right now they have Clefbaum, Larson, Russell, Nurse, Manning, Jones, Bear on the blue line, right? We haven't seen Manning in a while. Jones and Bear, both rookies, that kind of deal. Now, at the same rate, we have Matthew Benning on the injured reserve. So that's technically 8 defensemen up in the NHL. Then we go all the way down to the AHL and talk about who we've got NHL caliber down there. You've got Joel Persson, so that's 9 defensemen. Now, we're closing in. Game 41 against the Calgary Flames. This is the crazy part, right? Game 41 against the Calgary Flames, and we finally start deciding this calendar year after that. Well, let me tell you, what did I talk about all offseason? If you've watched me since day one of the offseason, I said the Oilers' best plan with Evan Bouchard is to send him down, boil him up in the minors, and bring him up if warranted after game 41. So technically speaking, in my world of worlds, when I was talking in the offseason, to stay true to what I've said, I guess that's 10 NHL caliber defensemen by my estimate that should be on this roster. Now, okay, hold on. Should be on that roster. That's some funny wording, and maybe I should backpedal a bit because do we really believe Brandon Manning should be on our roster? Well, you know what? This year, actually, yes. This year he's held his own and done the job correctly, so we're not going to complain too much about Brandon Manning. Problem is that contract does stink. So, right now you're getting into this. As Matt Benning comes back, Caleb Jones out of either rookie, right, either Jones or Bear, has all of a sudden looked a little bit more steady, but that's because he's playing sheltered minutes with a veteran in Chris Russell and, right, yada, yada, yada. One thing leads to the next. Suddenly, okay, it makes sense that Darnell Nurse played okay at times last year with Russell. Now Jones is doing it too, right? You're starting to see it. Okay, so the complication factor is there. What do you do with Joel Persson? I'm sure you don't keep him down there all year long. Is he there just in case of injury replacement? But then what do you do with Manning? What do you do with Benning? Like, it's a tough question. Now let's go back to ourselves for a second here at the start of the year when I was talking about building this Oilers roster and I said, you know what, if Jones, Bear make it, then you've got Matt Benning as your 7th defenseman. So then all of a sudden, there you go. In that reality, you're using Manning as a trade chip or as down to the minors, and probably the same exact thing that happened with him last year. That, unfortunately, I don't see happening under Ken Holland. He treats veterans, from what I've seen, a little bit better than that, right? Obviously, Sam Gagner, he got sent down, but with a message to, hey, this is your role within the organization. We'd love it if you could succeed and do that. And he did. He did that for 4 games. But you see where this gets complicated, right? Is we've got those 10 guys trying to fit. We're either trying to find room if at the end of the season we're not succeeding and it's finally time to call up Evan Bouchard, or if we're trying to succeed into the playoffs, do you just stick with what's working, send down Caleb Jones and call it good? Or do you, here's the other question, do you talk about maybe sending down Ethan Bear? That is the question. But this is where I want to get to the injury report because, guys, this is where it gets a lot more complicated. You see here, Matt Benning's been out with injury for 10 games now. This is actually 11 because this list, the MIC injury report on EdmontonOilers.com, was as of December 22nd. So add 2 more man games lost. One for Brodziak, one for Matt Benning due to this being on the 22nd. So Matt Benning's been out for 11 games. Guys, we know the Oilers are a much better team with Matt Benning on the ice than they are without. That's straight up. Whether you compare him to Jones, whether you compare him to Bear, straight up, the Oilers are a much, much better team with Matt Benning on the ice than they are with one of the 2 rookies on the ice. So that feels weird for me to say. We're still getting used to that, but it's straight facts. It's absolute straight facts. So, okay. You look at the injury list, right? There you go. That's why we have this complication right now as we do. Because we've had Persson out, we've had Larson out, we've had Persson out again, we've had Manning out, we've had Benning out, and we've had Benning out a second time. So this Oilers team has been all around with the injuries on both sides of the puck, whether it be the offensive side or the defensive side. So here's the question is, how do you set this Oilers team up for success in case of injury? And that's where you get at this complication that is the defense. Well, suddenly you look at it and it makes a lot more sense, right? Is Joel Persson is there capable of filling in on the right-hand side as an injury replacement as he grows his game down in Bakersfield? Now, the thing that many of you might not know, and what I should probably get you, is the Bakersfield Condors stats for Mr. Joel Persson so far this year. Team player stats, and I want Joel Persson, who is going to be down here somewhere ahead of Gagne, I'm hoping. Joel Persson, yeah, 7 points in 11 games. So Joel Persson, he's tearing up the AHL for what he has done compared to the NHL this season. So there you go. All right, we've set the stage. We know the players, we know the keys. Here's how I see it going with Matt Benning returning sometime soon, hopefully. I've honestly been combing for Oilers news today. Unless I missed it, I haven't read anything on Matt Benning today, and I doubt we'll read anything on Matt Benning tomorrow either as we prepare for the Battle of Alberta tomorrow. So look at it this way, right? Is all of a sudden, okay, maybe a couple games from now we get Matt Benning back. Okay, the way I see it going, Jones goes back to the AHL. We run with Benning, Bear, Larson on the right side, Clefbaum, Russell, and Nurse on the left side. Manning as the 7th defenseman. That makes sense. Problem is, you've got Jones, who definitely deserves a shot, but now you've also got Bear, who's kind of regressing from that high, right? That season high in those first 10 games where he was absolutely, could do no wrong in anyone's estimate of view, unless you just hate rookie defensemen on your team. Seriously, guy could do no wrong. Then all of a sudden, things got tougher. Players started adjusting to him, and Darnell Nurse has also started regressing back to where he kind of was at times last year, not making smart plays. Well, suddenly you have a rookie out to dry, and it just shatters the confidence a bit. And you look at the Oilers, and you look at Ethan Bear in particular, you can kind of see that. There's a little bit of shake to his game, right? There's a little bit of shake, and that is worrisome just in the fact of if that avalanches, that can ruin an entire season. So, okay. Now I'm talking about sending Bear down to the minors. That sounds crazy compared to where we've been for the first 40 games of this year, but maybe it's not. When you get Benning back, you have Benning, Larson, Jones, you roll with that. You allow Bear to regain, work on a couple of things, right? Same thing you've done with Persson, same thing you've done with Jones this year. Let Bear work on a couple of things. Guys, he's non-waivers. It's the perfect time to do it because guess what? Next year could be a whole lot harder to do that. And this is exactly where this whole complication of the Oilers defense gets to, is outside of Bouchard, next year we don't really have any defensemen that are available to not go on waivers down to the minors, right? You think Jones is going to probably need a new contract if I've got my math correct. Hold on, let me check cap friendly. Yeah, Jones is going to need a new contract. So is Ethan Bear. If you think both of them or even one of them is going to take a two-way deal, that's a mistake right there. I highly doubt that. So the Oilers, all of a sudden, things get complicated here going into next season. And of course, Matt Benning needs a contract too. So, well, Darnell Nurse as well, and Brandon Manning. So you've got five guys out of, actually, Joel Persson too. Add him to the list because why not? Joel Persson needs a contract. He's an RFA as well. And so you've got 4 out of 10 guys in this complication ready for a contract or don't need a contract next year. 6 of 10 need a contract next year. So here's the thing, is as much as we can sit here and say, well, you need this for this scenario for playoffs, you need this if we tanked, you need this or that, right? You sit here and add up all the sums and parts of what could possibly happen for this Oilers team going into next year. It's a mess because of the contracts, because of the players involved, and simply because who knows what injuries are about to happen as we go down the stretch. And that's the interesting part for this team. It's not like we're doomed if we get a season-ending injury to one of our players, because we've got 10 NHL caliber guys, technically speaking 9 if you don't count Bouchard, because we haven't seen him at the NHL level since the start of last year, and that's been about 112, 13 games since we last saw Bouchard. So, right, you get where I'm going. I'm trying to make a clear point here, but there is nothing clear. It's clear as mud at this point how the Oilers' defense realistically shakes out. Technically speaking, yes, we know what the defense has to be to make the playoffs. But as things trend down or trend up, that starts getting messed up, and then you start talking about injuries as well. And you've seen, as my list showed right here, my good old list friend, the MIC injury list, let me tell you, it tells you these injuries aren't going to just magically disappear for the next 42 games of the NHL season. So guys, I want to hear it. I want to hear, how do you shape this Oilers defense the rest of the season? How would you ideally set it up? Do you trade Manning? Do you trade somebody else? What do you do with this Oilers defense the rest of the season? Let me know in the comments section down below. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. I will catch you in the next one.